to another tutorial, and today it's going to be on color sensing. So, color sensing is really important for your robot to get input on colors it sees on the field, and judges really like that you can control your robot and have taken the further step to make your autonomous more consistent. So, it's relatively simple to set up. Once again, this file is just a compressed version of this file, which is located in your templates. I will have all this code on GitHub. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make a color sensor object, or if it's easier to understand, a variable. So I'm going to make a color sensor object called color. And this is the basic declaration you need to do at the start, where you're setting all your motors and doing all of that stuff. So next, what we're going to go and do is actually we have to do the hardware map, since it is a hardware on our robot. So there's actually two ways you could do this. The template uses it this way, and in my autonomouses, I have used it this way. Either way is fine. It doesn't really matter. Remember, this value is the value on your config file, so it can be whatever you want. It's just the string value that's going to be on there. I usually just keep it constant in my config file and call it color, but any way is fine. So we only need one of these, but now we know what color is equal to. It has a value, and we can actually start using it. So if you haven't watched the telemetry video, or you're not sure what telemetry is, watch the telemetry video, because now I want user input on what I'm actually doing. And this is a teleop program. So using this while loop, I'm going to go through telemetry, telling me pretty much all the values you really need to know. So telemetry data, and I'm going to add this. 3 times. Actually, let's go 4. So, red. Alpha. So now with all this code here, what's really happening? Okay, so I'm adding to telemetry a red, green, and blue and alpha color value. And this is the method right here that you'll be using to access those values. So when it's scanning an image, it's always going to give you 3 back. How much red there is in what it's seeing, how much blue there is in what it's seeing, how much green there is in what it's seeing, and the amount of light, which is the alpha. So you usually only need to use the ones that you need it. Like, first, if you're sensing a red line, red is going to be way higher than green or blue. So you could test when red is higher than a certain variable. But you don't have to worry about the others if you're not sensing the others, or not going to be sensing the others. So basically what this program's going to do is just going to run through them, just update them constantly as your teleop goes on, and lets you see what they are. So that, let's say you want to actually use one of those values. Let's say you'll now know what the color of the wiffle ball on the field is. You'll now know what to make it act at. And they're not always completely accurate, so make sure you're kind of doing an estimate, or you go a little bit below the value it's seeing if you're trying to use it for something important. So other than that, there's a few other things that you should know about color sensors. There's 2 main ones that I've used, and I'm going to talk about my experience with both. So, Modern Robotics start. Modern Robotics color sensor, when my team was using Modern Robotics parts and Modern Robotics Electronics, it seemed to work fine. Just note, however, upon putting it on a Rev module, it cannot really sense that far. Like probably like 1 centimeter, 2 centimeters is where you'll get good values on the differentiating color. So make sure you know that what you're using with that, and also, and now there's the Rev color sensor, which senses at a good distance, and relatively and has nice scaled values. So with these, there's also some few other functions you're gonna want to know. So if you look here, there is enable LED. So this is, I've especially tested this with Modern Robotics, but it would assume to be the same for all of them. So in the game before the Relic Recovery, Velocity Vortex, there was a beacon or an LED or a little button thing where you could hit a button and it had an LED on it saying what color of the team it was. Now, the problem with this was the color sensing it was that it was like an LED, or it was a light, and at least the Modern Robotics has a hard time differentiating between values that are light when its LED is on. So it has two modes. It's active and passive. So when you're trying to send something like a beacon or something, if anyone remembers what that is or can search up what it is, you want your LED off. However, rule of thumb, just keep most of the time LED is important, and LED is going to be used for like most things. So you could keep LED on, and if you start getting weird values on something you're trying to test, and it has light involved, or it's like an LED, chances are you want to turn this enable LED to false to turn it off. Now RGB just gives you a full value of all the alpha and then RGB, red, green, and blue. So that's pretty much what you're going to be doing with color sensing. I'm going to give you a quick example of how you could kind of maneuver based on color values. So let's say if the color value of red is greater than 20, do that code. So that's basically how you're going to be using it. You're going to be saying, okay, if it's greater than that, do this. And that's the basic sense of how you can quickly get a color sensor program working. Now make sure you obviously test this value and know that 20 is the threshold for when it's going to be actually sensing the object you want to sense, but that comes with testing from using this to see what colors the object is. So thank you for watching, and see you in the next tutorial.